What's happening, everybody? Tyler Pyburn here alongside Phil DiMartino. And of course, today we're doing another edition of our video Prod Pod. So today's topic is trying something different.
Yeah.
Because we're trying something different with our own shoots. I mean, our whole goal, we came in tonight, we said, you know what? Let's do something a little different. Let's just mess with the room, see what we can do. So let me get your thoughts. Why should other people, I mean, first off, why are we trying something different? And why do you think other people should just try something off the wall once in a while?
Yeah, I think it's, first of all, it's an interesting way to just keep things fresh and make sure you don't get stagnant. And from like a corporate video perspective, there's so much out there and so much of the same. And Talking Heads, and obviously this is Talking Heads, but at least it's a little bit different than what we've done. And I think it's just a way to try to make sure that you're not letting yourself get stuck in a rut and stagnate, and you're making sure you try to keep things fresh a little bit and you stand out from the crowd. And it's all part and parcel of making sure that your content doesn't get boring, right? To yourself, first and foremost, because if it's boring to you, it'll be boring to others. But then also boring to your viewers, because if you're not trying new things and trying to stay ahead, then people will notice, and it'll come through. It'll come through that way.
Well, I think too, I mean, for me, honestly, this is so different because I'm talking to you as opposed to looking directly into the camera right now. But just talking to you is a slightly different thing, which isn't a bad thing by any stretch, because I feel it's almost a little bit more conversational. So that was one of the things I think we want to try, is that we're literally talking to each other right now. It is, but I didn't realize how green your eyes were before. But it's okay. No, but seriously, it's trying something different for us. One of the things I thought was, we've been kind of just putting a camera up and talking to the camera and kept it static and steady, and that was it. These are static cameras, obviously. But one of the things I think we kind of looked at is say, we've got this small little room. What are some of the different ways we can get creative in it? And from a production person, so you talked about just a corporate business. I'll look at it from another production company. For another production company, I think, was to say, all right, this is the way we shoot things. This is what our look and feel is. For us, we're a young company. We're still trying to figure out kind of our look and feel. Now, our whole, shtick is that, we're fun-loving guys that you're going to like to work with, but we also are not afraid to step outside of our comfort zone.
Right.
And I think that's the other big thing, is always keep trying to push yourself forward. And I think, to your point, you just said it, is looking at other brands of how can they push themselves a little bit further, because it's only going to help them. You continue to push yourself, it's only going to move the needle further. But on the flip side of things, don't go so off the wall that it's not like you whatsoever, but try things, because in today's world, things are here today, gone tomorrow so quickly that if you try it doesn't work, guess what? Go back to the old way real quick, right?
Right. That's actually, so you made a lot of good points. And
I made like 17. I'm
did.
sorry I talked for so long.
That's good. There's a couple of things I want to address, and I have to decide what order I want to address them in.
Which one first?
All right. So the first thing I want to talk about, you mentioned my point about keeping things fresh, et cetera, et cetera. I think a big part of doing good work in production and marketing is finding things that are successful and then iterating on them and making them work for you. So when you think about like the vlogging space, and like the daily V style video that we love so much, it's great to find a format that's interesting and that works and that a lot of people like, and then to start trying to put your own spin on it. But the important part of that is actually putting your own spin on it.
Yeah, exactly.
So when you find a format that's interesting and people like, you shouldn't just try to replicate it. You should try to take the parts of it that are interesting and then add your own flavor to it and make it your own. And part of that involves, maybe something as simple as switching cameras around, but maybe it's a tone thing, maybe it's a music thing. It all depends on like exactly what you're trying to do. But I think that's an important part of iterating. When you find something that you like and that's successful, don't just try to make an exact copy of it. Try to make a version of it that builds on it and makes it your own as well.
Well, I think, one of our former colleagues, we got to give him a shout out, Butch Stearns, is one of the guys, but he always used to say, he was crazy, he's a fun guy, I absolutely love him, but he was always say, put a stamp on it, make it your own, right? And that goes exactly to what you were just saying, is what can you take from a video perspective, especially video and content in general. What's your tone? What's going to sound like you in your videos, in your blog posts, in your images? My goal is, we were talking to one of our clients several months ago. He said, I want people to look at it and say, that's his, that's mine.
Yep.
So for us, I want people to see something Yes, I want them to see our faces and know it's us, but the style, say, oh, that's a 5-tool production style. This is their style. This is how they shoot things. And that way you kind of are known for it. It's kind of like Under Armour. When you see an Under Armour commercial, you know, yeah, that was put together. That's an Under Armour commercial, or Nike for that matter. You just know the way things are shot. It's a little bit differently. It's just cool. It helps them build the brand. Everything about them is their style and the way they kind of work with it.
Yeah, and I think it depends a little bit on the maturity of your company too. You mentioned we're a young company, and Under Armour is not an old company, but they have.
Yeah, but they've been around since what, 96?
Sure,
Maybe
sure.
we're
Long
talking
enough.
20 years.
Long
right?
enough that they kind of know, like you said, like what their voice is and things like that. Social is like the advent of social and social video. It's a really interesting space because it does allow you to take a little more chances. There's more opportunity to take risks than maybe there was in the old days. And if you're more of an established brand, there might be less room to try something different, but there's always some room to try something different. So for Under Armour, it might be as simple as a different style. Obviously, it's not going to be a whole different tone. For a company as young as ours, you mentioned, we're still kind of figuring out exactly what our tone is in addition to stylistic changes and things like that too. So, you know, working in a company you know best, right? If you're in the marketing department day in, day out, living by the brand book, everything, you know best how much wiggle room you have, but there's always some wiggle room, even if it is something as simple as changing where the cameras are and trying. And there is an element of forgiveness for things like this. Obviously, there's very little forgiveness for some things on social media, and the hordes will come after you.
Yeah,
But
pitchforks and
and torches. But for things like this, where you're just trying to get creative, I think there is a pretty good amount of forgiveness on social, and people, you know, people like it when companies try things that are going to make them more able to connect directly with the audience and the consumer. People like authenticity, and if what you're doing is trying to get closer to full authenticity, people are not generally going to get upset about it.
Well, one of the things I'll kind of, for me, I'll end on this. I don't know if you have anything else you want to give, but there was one thing in particular. My colleague Jim, he says it all the time. He heard this at a conference, and it holds so true with the world we live in. He says, "Move fast and pivot." Right. So if you sit back and sit there and try to, okay, we're going to strategize and this, that, and that, and you're not actually doing anything, and you're not testing the waters and seeing, you're never actually going to make any progress. So it's better to put something out there, try a look like this, try a feel, see how it goes, and pivot off of that, move off of that. Say, or hey, if people totally dig it, keep going in that direction. So that's really what we got to try, right?
Yeah, it's all about, you're right, and that's a crucial part of something we talk about a lot, which is measurement too, and the proof is often in how people respond to it. So you have a base of stuff you've done, and it's done a certain way, and then you try something new, and it performs 10 times better. Probably keep, you know, building on and iterating that, and if it does 10 times worse, maybe you know, tweak it a little bit, right? Yeah. But it's all about measuring it too. But yeah, no, it's a great point.
Solid. He's Phil. I'm Tyler. Yeah, see, we're cutting back and forth. Cut, 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 cut. I love how you do it to the beat of my voice. All right, that's it. We'll see you guys next time.